Hey everyone, welcome back to Jump Ultimate Star. So today we're gonna go ahead and actually start playing the game. As you can see here, we have a shit ton of different little sections and galaxies that we can start in. I'm gonna go ahead and start in this one. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but Right, so this is the Dragon Ball Galaxy. I've went ahead and I read the first I've read the first 3 chapters of the manga, and I also read the first like 4 chapters of the manga when it starts being sort of Dragon Ball Z. Which is pretty interesting because the manga is pretty much exactly the same as the anime. I didn't really think it'd be so, similar. But yeah, there's a lot of little cool, interesting little things. I managed to find sort of a scan of the manga that was colored, which was really fun. But it starts off the same way that the Dragon Ball series starts, which if you haven't watched it, you definitely should. Because I wouldn't say it's better, because DBZ definitely has a lot more flair and fights and stuff, but Dragon Ball definitely had a lot of, in its own right, it's a really great series. But it starts off with, Goku just being this weird little homeless, well I guess not homeless, but this wilderness child with a tail, and then he encounters Bulma. Fucking Bulma shoots him by the fucking way, and he's just like, ow. He gets shot in the first chapter, and he's just okay with that. But yeah, he encounters Bulma. Bulma teaches him about the Dragon Ball. He has his grandfather's Dragon Ball, and she's like, yo, let's go and get some shit. And they partner up and whatnot, etc, etc. And then later on, flash forward to the future, a lot of stuff happens in between that, and then we cut into, the Z arc, or the Saiyan arc, I should say, where Raditz shows up, fucking blows everyone's mind. Oh, Goku's from fucking this alien race that destroys planets, and I'm super powerful, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. I was kind of on both sides of the fence of this, because one, I'm excited that the manga is exactly the same as the anime, because it felt sort of nostalgic going back to read it, but at the same time, if it's exactly the same, kind of feel like I'm not missing anything. I'm sure there's some differences, there's always differences, but I feel like I'm gonna have to dig really deep into it. Anyways, yeah, so we're in the Dragon Ball Galaxy here. I missed a couple of the goals here, so I have to go back and beat these guys up. I believe I needed to do special attacks, or get a lot of points. I don't remember which one it is, but you can see we already have a lot of the Dragon Ball Z characters here. We're fighting. We got Gokus, we got fucking Piccolos, we got, I think, a Vegeta, we got a Gotenks, we got a Gohan, a lot of characters. As you can tell by being one of the big 3, Dragon Ball has a lot of characters in this game. But that being said, yeah, the way this game works is that there's a lot of different missions, or maybe not missions, I should say criteria that you have to fill for each section for the galaxy. Well, no, the galaxies, the galaxy is the group. So we had One Piece, well, not One Piece. We had Dragon Ball, Blues, and Saint Seiya. I think it's called the Fighter Galaxy, and in that galaxy we have the planet. This is the Dragon Ball Z planet. Each planet has its own mission. Each mission has its own goals that we have to complete. We complete these goals, and we get these gems that we can use to feed our characters, or komas I should say, and allows them to level up. So you can have we got Gintoki there. He's the one with the arrow pointing toward Naruto. We can feed him gems, and he'll level up, become an assist character, and feed him some more, level up, and he'll become a playable character. Or for example, we have Luffy here. We can feed him so that instead of being a 4 coma, he can be a 5 coma, which means he takes up more space on the manga deck, but he's also a lot stronger in general, and he also has different abilities and stuff like that, which is why you'll see me doing a lot of missions over a lot. This stage is the worst because it's a slippery stage. It's only good for certain times. For example, now where I need to do deathmatch, basically. Before it was a point match, this is a deathmatch. I just need to just knock these guys out. And it's easy because it's really quick, because I can just slide over to them and just throw them off really easily. But I'm having a lot of trouble with this fucking Vegeta. There we go. Almost saved himself. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to talk a bit more about the manga, but to be honest, there's not really too much that I can talk about. I mean, there is that infamous scene where Bulma tries to tempt Goku with her ass, basically, and Goku's kind of like, I don't want to touch your dirty ass. So that was pretty interesting that all that's still there. And then there's that scene where he like pulls down her panties and he's like, oh shit, she doesn't have a dick. That was pretty interesting to read that, I guess. But aside from that, there's not really all that too much going on. I mean, the first 3 chapters is just kind of meeting characters. Who is it that he meets? I don't think he meets anyone. Oh, he meets the turtle. That's who he meets. He meets the turtle, and then he meets Master Roshi. That's what it is. That's where chapter 3 heads off. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Aside from that, like I said, nothing really too much happens. I was really hoping to go over this a lot more, you know, discuss the manga, how I felt about it, but since it's something that I know so well, there's not really too much that I can say. So, what are you gonna do? This is a Dragon Ball hunt, so like, there's pretty much only 4 types of missions in this kind of game, or I should say objectives. There's the points, where you have to get the most points in an allotted amount of time. There's Deathmatch, where you have to defeat all the other characters to be the last one standing. There's this, which is basically just capture all the things. In this case, it's Dragon Balls. In other cases, well, I guess there's a couple more modes now that I think about it. But in other cases, it might be stars, or, you know, books, or like whatever. You just gotta capture a certain amount of things. They'll just spawn in the middle of the map, and you can. Usually, what I'll do is I'll just restart until I get all of them all at once. Because otherwise, if the opponents get one, I have to kill them. And usually, they want you to get all of them in like a certain amount of time. There's also these other missions where you just get a bunch of money. And then there's other missions where you have to do certain criteria, like hit opponents with a certain move, or protect a certain opponent, or anything like that. You know, stuff like that. But we'll get into that later on. What I'm gonna try to do right now, real quickly, while I have some time, since I finished all those missions a lot easier than I thought, we're gonna go ahead and evolve some of our Komas here. I've been saying feed, but I guess evolve is the actual term. Yeah, we have here Gohan. You can see he has his sort of branching out tree here. What we're gonna do is just gonna feed him up so that we can get the assist Gohan, and we'll feed him up a little bit more, and we can get the character Gohan, which we can actually use in battle, which is fucking dope, because obviously Gohan is the best Dragon Ball Z character, and not just, you know, any Gohan, specifically fucking Teen Gohan, which is the one I have in this game, which is dope. So we're gonna get a 5 Koma Teen Gohan and go ahead and use that. Kind of sucks that they didn't have like an 8 Koma and it was like an adult Gohan, but whatever, none of that matters. But yeah, that's been Jump Ultimate Stars. Stay fresh.
Honey.